Good day to you. We are recording right now. Welcome to our first lecture in the summer semester 2022, taking place at the China Center at TU Berlin. And my name is Sigrun Abels, and I am head of the China Center. Put on your mic, Tanya.
These things. Thank you also my students from the course China Climate Change as an Opportunity. And this event is a part of the seminar in which we deal with the consequences, but also with opportunities of the current climate change. So welcome everybody.
Thank you.
I think many of you know us already, but just a few words about what is the China Lunches. We talk about many important issues regarding China during these lunches. It's a series and it's taken place for quite some years now. And in this semester and in the coming winter semester, we will talk about climate change and the influences of this change on our lives. And our China Lunch lecture and discussions help us to exchange with you, with experts, with our students, and to know each other better. Our speaker today is Professor Wang Xiangrong from Shanghai Center for Urban Eco-Planning and Design, Department of Environmental Science and Engineering at Fudan University in Shanghai. Please allow me to say only 2 sentences about the current situation in Shanghai. We are aware that you are currently in a very challenging situation. We share this with concern and compassion, and we can only vaguely imagine how you are living at the moment, but we are all the more pleased that you come to us virtually today to give a lecture in our Climate China Lunch, and the lecture will be about climate change and ecological strategy for resilient city. A very warm welcome to you, Professor Wang.
Vielen Dank, Chair. Guten Tag, Sommer. Ich bin Xiangrong Wang from the Fudan University. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to have this opportunity to exchange my research results and understanding about the climate change and the strategy for resilience.
But before you do so, Professor Wang,
can you see my screen?
We can see you, but we would like to give you a few words of introduction because we don't, we haven't said enough about you, and this will be done by Herman right now. Only a few words.
Yeah, hi, Professor Wang, and hi, everybody. I would like to take the chance to introduce a little bit about Professor Wang. So Professor Wang Xiangrong is currently the director and the professor of the Center for Urban Eco-Planning and Design and at the Fudan University. At the same time, he holds many other titles and also leads other organizations in China. And he has got his PhD of environmental ecology in 1991 at East China Normal University and carried out his postdoctoral education of urban ecology and planning at Tongji University in 1993. He was also a senior visiting scholar at the University of Liverpool, UK, during 1994 and 1996, and a Fulbright scholar at the State University of New York at New Paltz and Bard College, USA, during 2004 and 2005. And Professor Wang currently focuses on his researches in the areas of environmental ecology assessment and ecological planning, climate change, environmental policy and sustainability, and urban ecosystem and eco-security research. He has now published more than 25 scholarly books and 190 academic papers and 9 national patents, and supervised dozens of students such as PhD and Master of Science students. And he carried out about 80 research programs as a leading expert. So a professor with a lot of experience, not only academically, but also, like a lot of teaching experiences. And dear Professor Wang, we are very glad to have you today here and looking forward to your presentation and the discussion afterwards. So stage is yours.
Thank you for Dr. Zhou's introduction. So can I share my screen?
We cannot see anything at the moment.
Normally, it needs a few seconds until it's here from China.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see?
No. Paul, kannst du geben Rechte an Herrn Wang?
Ja, ich muss mal gucken.
Yeah, because we tried before and now it's everything fine. Thank you.
Everything's fine? Okay, great. Okay. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to be invited here for an online lecture for climate change and ecological strategy for the Silent City. So I think this is a very good opportunity for me and for our exchange opportunity. So I hope to introduce my research results and understanding from the following aspects. So firstly, it's about our background and the significance for the resilience research. With the development of fast urbanization in the world, the impact of climate change on urban area is most directly and severely, meanwhile, it makes the research here especially important and urgent. So from this picture, we can understand the growth of population density, especially population density living in the urban area becomes large and large. So this diagram shows the situation between 1990 up to 2050. So actually, we face the serious challenges of climate change. For example, many estuary cities are impacted by climate change. So from this picture, we can understand the most estuary, especially most coastline cities in lower altitudes are threatened by flooding. So all of us have some case study or have some understanding about the impact of climate change, such as heavy snow storming in flooding and flooding in Boston. And many cities in China are threatened by flooding and some other climate change events. For example, urban flooding taking place in recent years in Shanghai, in Beijing, in Guangzhou, and in other cities. So the picture on the right, this picture is very interesting. You can find the flooding events attacked the campus of Tongji University in the year 2018. So many students had to course in the flooding in the first floor of classroom. So it is very important to carry out the international research collaboration on resilience and climate change. The second of my lecture hope to introduce the concept and the connotation. Up to now, some scholars in the world consider that the urban resilience is a central concept in enabling the cities to be prepared for disasters and unexpected events caused by climate change, which induce the extreme weather conditions, particularly the ongoing emergency of pandemic COVID-19 has threatened the urban health. social and economical development, and cooperate the cities to evaluate and address resilience. Maybe we would discuss the concept of resilience or resilient city, which means the city can maintain its basic function, structure, system, and structures by adjusting and control its social, economic, and technical system under the impact of climate change. Under we understanding the basic concept, we would have the connotation understanding for urban resilience, which should include 4 aspects or 4 characteristics. The first is infrastructure resilience. The second is institution resilience. The third one should be economic resilience. And the fourth one should cover social resilience. According to the progress of research in the world in recent years, many countermeasures should be included for the strategy of climate change, especially enhance the urban resilience. For example, strength cooperation combining mitigation resilient indexes and urban development planning, raise the public awareness and the publicity and education activities, and establish international mechanisms, performance of the obligations, and strengthen urban level of disaster and emergency management. So this is multi-dimension countermeasures. We often face the challenge of how can we answer the question, what's the difference between sport city and the resilient city? Because sport city is very hot during past years. As comparison with the concept of resilient city, the sport city is old, and the resilient city is new one. But what's the difference? According to my understanding, sport city is a new generation concept of urban storm water management, which means that the city can adapt to environment changes and cope with nature disasters caused by rain like sports. So it can be called water resilient city. LID is the keyword. How about the resilient city? It should have more comprehensive functions to tackle with the climate change. Nature solution is a keyword. If we learn from the introduction of World Resources Institute, which means nature solution should include the disaster taxonomy and assessment of vulnerability and the zoning of climate change vulnerability assessment, as well as strategies for protection of mountains, forests, watersheds, rivers, wetlands, farmland, cities, and coasts, and so on. So in short, can we understand the mountains, oceans, lakes, and rivers, as well as forests, wetlands, farmlands, grasses, cities, should be a living community. The third one of my presentation, I hope to discuss the resilience research in the world. According to the analysis and the research of my research team, up to now, total 146 journal articles and about 9 special reports. This is academic reports on resilience published up to the end of 2020. Journal articles have been examined under 3 heads as analytic, conceptual, literature, review. From this diagram, we can understand the paper and report published more and more than before. In general, according to the analysis of keywords frequencies analysis, the main research area of urban resilience are as follows: climate change, urban planning, urban hazards and disaster risks, urban sustainability and green infrastructure, the adaptation of urban resilience and smart cities are very hot research areas during recent years, especially during last decades. If we would have a global perspective, can we evaluate a country's resilience probably in the world? The answer is correct. So some indicators can be selected based on the three pillars: social, economic, and environment. So the enacted indicators and the threshold criteria are as follows: GDP, HDI, energy supply, renewable energy, carbon dioxide emissions, urban land, the water resources, as well as material footprint. Okay, so from this,
Professor Yang, we cannot hear you anymore. You must mute yourself. Paul, kannst du das machen? Yes, now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now it is everything perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. So the pictures can show you the comparison between the resilience level located at the top 20 and the bottom 20. So from the picture, we can understand those countries located at the top 20 should have a very good resources, very good land use, and abundant water resources, and reliable energy, and so on. Those 20 bottom 20 countries have some run or have some shortage of water resources, land resources, renewable energy, and so on. So this picture can give our many significance. We can understand the resilient level assessment are very important, especially we should have a very good index system. So the two different pictures shows the categories distribution of the indicators for 2015, when a high classification indicates a country is within the proposed resilience targets. The green column show you the higher level, the yellow show you the mid level, the red column show you the low level of resilience. Okay. According to the progress of international research on the resilience during recent years, we can analyze many indicator systems had been put forward, such as RCI indexes was put forward by the United States in the year 2011. So this indexes was constituted by three dimensions: regional economic capacity, social demographic capacity, and community collective capacity, and so on. Then we can get much more detailed taxonomy about the indicator. On the basis of RCI, the United States of California and Berkeley applying this index system to invite about 361 US cities in the urban area, and then identify their neighbor of different resonance. So from this map, we can understand in the northeast and the Midwest group are more resonant. Many due to these areas at affordable cost of living, health insurance, and some popularity, home ownership, and regional stability, and they have a very good urban infrastructure. So these cities can get a very good grade. So then North Carolina also published the climate risk assessment and resilience plan. So this is very good progress in the relative research. In addition to this one, the United Nations Relief Agency had put forward the 10 index system during past years, and to make city, the target should be to make the city more resilient. And the UK has put forward the indexes system for this resilient city based on design. This program was called Urban Future Projects, Water Supply and Flooding Control, and RCI have been introduced. And how about the research progress in Asia countries? So Asia countries have put forward resilient city indexes to tank with climate change, such as Asia CCCRN project, Urban Climate Resilience Initiative, ACRI, and so on. In the UK, we can understand that they had paid much more attention to the detailed indexes design, which covered the disaster, flooding, drought, heat wave analysis, and strategies. Under the financial support from United Nations, especially UNESCO, 6 representatives in the world has been selected as the pioneer cities for the practice of resilience planning and practice. For example, New York, London, Chicago, Rotterdam, Quito, and Dubai. Their common characteristics are as follows: to emphasize a comprehensive protection ability for the future climate risk, to build safe, selfless, livable city as a goal, and to learn to reflect on and improve planning perspective, to turn crisis into an opportunity and promote city image and city competitiveness. So to turn crisis into an opportunity is very, very good ideas. And then to mobilize our social forces, consciousness. So during recent years, as you know, there is a very famous international network, which is called the Global Resilience Research Network, has been set up, launched 5 years ago. So there was a very successful annual conference in Freiburg. It was in 2019. Prof is a member of this network. Our university, Fudan University, is also a member of 28 memberships. So this is a very good opportunity and the international collaboration platform. We hope to enhance our international collaboration. about the resilience research. So meanwhile, maybe you are very interested to know how about resilience research in China. So I hope to select some case study and my understanding from her national level and some case study in different cities to introduce. In general, framework design for resilience research, methodology for the resilience research, and the building of evaluation indicator system, as well as urban resilience and strategies are included in our research and the practice for the resilience research in China. From this framework, we can understand some steps are necessary for our research in China. Firstly, we should have to analyze the current situation and identify the problems of climate change impact. And then to evaluate the ability of typical cities to adapt to climate change. You know, it was at the early ages of tank phase of climate change in China. We paid much more attention to the adaptation. With the progress of research and soundly understanding about the climate change, as well as enhance the collaboration in international levels, we think about both adaptation and mitigation are very important conditions. So we can use the different methodology and the modeling as well as the database analysis to identify the main factors which impact urban resilience. And then we should carry out or look for the way and the strategies which should include infrastructure, human health and welfare, and social and economic development, and then we can get the strategy design for urban resilience. During research of resilience in China, we have carried out some methodology. For example, modeling. The ecological risk list modeling are very important. During them, we had selected ecological indexes, fragility indexes, disaster indexes, pollution indexes to analyze the resilience level, like this formula. Then some other modeling of human being pressure, eco-health indexes had been applied. In addition to the modeling, spatial tactics such as 3S, remote sensing, GIS, and GPS should be applied to analyze urbanization and heat islands, wetland and forest succession, water and soil losing, and the disaster risk list analysis, and so on. During recent years, with the progress of UAV and the VR techniques, we think about these techniques are very important to collect the data and to set up the modeling and to set up the pre-alarming database and systems. On the basis of application of modeling and 3S techniques and so on, some framework of indicators for resilience research in China has been set up. My research team has carried out some programs in some Chinese cities, and then comparison with Chinese city and overseas cities. The first neighbor of indicate should be the resonance indicators, and the second neighbor is same neighbor. It covers the economy, society, infrastructure, resources, and the environment protection. And then we can select the different detailed elements for the sound analysis. So here, you can understand so many different detailed indicators can be used for our research. And then we can use the overlap functions of GIS to get the comprehensive analysis. And now we can understand from this paragraph, we can understand some research results and strategies for resilience of China has been carried out. So in China, the practice of resilience research include 31 provinces and 28 cities. The typical city, such as Chengdu, Shenzhen, Deyang, Hefei, Ningbo, Shanghai, had been selected as Chinese central government and provincial government, and some of them are supported by the collaboration program of the United Nations. Up to now, more and more Chinese cities are going to pay much more attention to study. How can we carry out the resilient city or resilient strategies for post-COVID-19 control? So up to now, we have had some scholarly books and scientific research papers have been published. So this book is my colleagues and I's cooperation achievements. So as mentioned about the analysis of resilient neighbors in China, we should carry out the vulnerability analysis, resources situation analysis, and then analysis their ability to tank with climate change and so on. So from here, we can understand it. Social, economic, and development and urbanization, and here. So this different pictures show you the situation, the population density distribution in China. So this line is called Chinese nationality line. So in the east of this line, you can understand the population density, urbanization ratio, economic development are very high. The west part of this line, the same indicators are very lower. So this is tremendous difference. These three different pictures show you the urbanization ratio in county level. Okay. So the picture on the left show you the land use, the urbanization ratio in unit land use. So the picture on the right show you the urbanization ratio in county level in recent years. So this picture show you the many infrastructure or some communication tools utilities. For example, so iPhone or other cell phone using it and so on. These four pictures show you the natural conditions and resources in China. This picture shows you the major features of China's water resources. This is annual runoff. This is the water resources distribution. So, you know, from here, we can understand the water resources in southeast, especially south of China and southeast of China are very rich. But the west part or north part of China, the water resources are just a shortage. So that picture shows you the temperature in summer, the precipitation in her level of nationality. The water resources and utilization efficiency in China in different provincial levels are shown here. So from this picture, you can understand the life and the ecological water footprint. So this column, this shadow yellow column show you the life and the ecological water footprint. The white column show you livestock products consumption water footprint. And the dark red column show you the industry products water footprint. The green color show you the gray water footprint. So actually, if we comparison the water availability and the water resources per capita between China and other countries, so you can understand the resources, the water resources in China is just a few. It's lower than that of average levels of the world level. Is very, very lower than that of USA and Russia. So this picture shows you the solar resources. This is solar distribution. The solar distribution is the total solar resources. The picture shows you the wind resources. The two different pictures show you drought, higher temperature wave, and the flooding, as well as the frequencies of nature disaster. As a total, we had the zoning of climate change sensitivities for whole of China. From the east part of China, from the east part of China, so this dark blue and the shade blue. This area show you the area faces serious challenges of flooding. The yellow color show you the area faces challenges of drought. The other area, such as the shade green, yellow color area, show you the wave, the heat wave challenges, and so. So at the same time, we need to analyze the eco-environmental protection level. So the picture show you the air quality during recent air quality in the year 2021. So the red one or yellow one are not very good. The red one area show you the mid-level pollution. The shade yellow and green area show you the good situation. In addition to this one, we should have some analysis results about the vegetation coverage change tendencies and eco-environment quality according to the county level, and vegetation cover density.
重新来，我跟他对错话了，我应该用普通话是对的。重新来。
And then we should carry out the ecosystem planning, biodiversity indexes of
人愿相
distribution
信一个黎明。
and the carbon dioxide emission analysis and ecological resilience grade.
我他妈什么都没干啊，怎么就开始？
On the basis of our analysis, so we can get the total ecological security pattern planning. So this is the ecological security pattern for the whole country. The fourth indicator should be infrastructure analysis. From these pictures, we can understand.
Professor Wang, excuse me. I use this introduction to tell you probably we should switch to discussion because we have just still 30 minutes time for the discussion.
Okay.
So please,
Okay.
If you
Okay,
can
thank you.
come to the end.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This picture show you the investigation of infrastructure in recent years. Finally, then we can get the resilience score of the different provincial level in her country. So from this picture, we can understand the green one, blue one, good grant for resilience. Finally, we carry out some case study of Shanghai, which included the resilience of urban infrastructure, the resilience of social resilience, the resilience of green space, the resilience of wetland, and then we can put forward strategies for the resilient city. Firstly, we have set up the indicator system, which is constituted resilience of urban infrastructure. Now, sub-indicate of socio-economic responses and the public services, resilience of wetland, and so on. So then we evaluate the wetland resilience level. For example, we selected Congming Dongtan, Jiuduan South wetland, and Nanhui East Beach wetland for the comparison. So then we could get the results to show the wetland in Jiuduan South have a very good resilience. So Congming Dongtan is in the mid-level, and the sea-level, which is lower resilience, is Nanhui East Beach. Okay, so finally, we think about the main factors such as urbanization, includes tight land, water and soil pollution, industry, agriculture, as well as invasive species are principal impact factors. On the basis of our analysis, then we can get the vulnerability zoning for whole city of Shanghai, which should have a very good guidance, significance for the urban master planning making. And then we can get some guidance for the practice of eco-engineering for resilience. And then we carry out many pyramid, pavement, rain gardens, and a smart management platform for sports city and the resilient city, and as well as carry out many artificial wetlands and carry out the eco network and the resilient infrastructure planning. Up to now, our government has selected Lingang as a case study or sites for eco planning from sports city to resilient city. So this is a practice picture. So finally, can we get some principal contributions to enhance the resilience? Build the resilience theory, carry out the evaluation on resilience, build a collaborative governance governance mechanism and push forward construction and pilot demonstration and develop key techniques for accident emergency disposal and innovation to promote green development. So as a conclusion, I hope to introduce my understanding for the resilient city research and the practice to tackle with climate change, which should include some strategies. For example, identify the key factors for climate change and resilience, and set up the index system and database for resilience and urban sustainability, and enhance the building of urban green infrastructure, as well as coordinate the urban growth and environmental protection to tackle the impact of climate change. So that's all of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor